Now, let's make sure that it's connecting appropriately. There we go. There we go. So we're gonna restart from the top, right? Because I wanted to make sure that I could see what it. There we go. Okay, so now I'm getting my feedback right. So we're gonna start from the beginning, y'all. We're gonna run it back from the top. So once again, good people, great people, guys, people. Welcome to another episode of Odie's Office, right? We on the live stream on YouTube. That's the reason why I had to, restart the joint. But we are still going to explore what is going on with one of my professional colleagues, with her losing her position, black woman colleague. I don't want to necessarily repeat all of her information on here because that could, re-traumatize unintentionally what it is that she's already experienced as a black woman in the United States of America, with all of her personal information being that easily accessible. So I don't want to re-traumatize or inadvertently make her feel more vulnerable than what it is that she already feels right now. But one of my colleagues essentially lost her position because people were arguing that she was being unprofessional in her delivery and what it is that she was saying, and thus she was removed from her position. Her position was terminated, things of that nature. So there are a couple of ways that I want to approach this, right? And my people on TikTok already know how it is that I want to approach this. I tend to orient myself in fact and not opinion. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to define what the patriarchy is, because men like to argue that the patriarchy does not exist, right? And factually, it does. So, patriarchy, by definition, a system of society or government in which the father or eldest male is the head of the family and descendant is traced through the male line, right? So, it is also a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it, right? A society or community organized on patriarchal lines. I thought that said patrilineal, but it's patriarchal, right? So, a number of men will argue that the patriarchy does not exist on an individualized basis. They argue that the patriarchy does not exist because they do not feel as if though they have the extent of powers in the patriarchy. So you are essentially projecting your insecurities about not being empowered by the same patriarchy that you're saying does not exist. So you literally are saying, how does this said patriarchy don't exist? Or how does this said patriarchy exist if I'm not empowered by it? Right? I'm not plugged into this so-called power, so it must not exist. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? Right? That's the equivalent of saying there is no light in this light bulb, or this lamp doesn't work because it's not plugged into the socket. No. Factually, men have an easier period of time moving through socio-cultural obstacles that would prevent other women from ascertaining the same amount of governmental power that men have. Factually, we can find the statistics. Right? That's one. Two, matter of fact, let's do this. And it's wild because people, and I say this all the time, people will be sitting in front of entire smart devices and still sound stupid. People will be like, oh, who are you talking to? Oh, who is he talking? Who he's just doing a rant? No, I'm doing live research. Like, if you really want to be honest about what it is that I'm doing live research. I'm just making it look cool, dog. Like, that's all it is that I'm doing. Y'all are upset about what it is that I'm talking about, but then y'all will go run to the same database in order to validate your same conclusions. So do y'all go to a different search engine other than Google in order to support your stupidity? So how is it that you can debase what it is that I'm saying if you're using the same database? Or you believe that you're using the same databases? Because between you and I can tell you right now that where it is that you go get your information from is not the same. You believe that I'm pandering, you literally get your information from panderers. I get mine from philosophers. We are not the same. We are not the same, right? So, let's do this. 7 surprising and outrageous stats about gender equality. Webforum.org. World Economic Forum. Right? World Economic Forum.org. So, women are 47% more likely to suffer severe injuries in car crashes because safety features are designed for men. I did not know that. Once again, patriarchal, because people are assuming that men are going to be the primary drivers of these vehicles simply because we're men, right? 33,000 girls become child brides every day, right? Now, that's a cultural thing, right? And at the same time, we're looking at it from the perspective of the ability of women, once again, to be consumed. I said this previously. The ability and the accessibility of the consumption of women is the primary premise of the patriarchy, right? The way in which we in the United States of America expose women to vulnerabilities makes them dependent upon men. That is the way that the patriarchy works. It disempowers women so that they are forced to rely on miserable, mediocre men. But let's continue. Only 6 countries, right? We talk about the ability for women to do what it is that they, are able to do in the world. Only 6 countries give women equal legal work rights as men. Only 6 countries, right? So, what are we talking about here? What are we really talking about here? We like to pretend. See, the reason why we say the patriarchy does not exist is because we tend to think about things in terms of the United States of America, right? The United States of America exists the way that it does literally because of the patriarchy. It exists the way that it does because men infantilized the ability of other men based upon racial intersections. So once again, y'all as black men were victims of the patriarchy simply because white men decided that you all were not good enough to make your own decisions. But yeah, we want to sit here and wield these tools against women. Let's keep going. Oh no, since y'all wanna beat y'all chest, let's really get to beating them. Let's do it, right? We're gonna sound these drums today. Let's do it, right? So 22% of AI professionals are women, and it could be down to the lack of confidence. What does that mean? That means that psychologically, men will say women just don't go and they don't do these and they don't go do these positions. The reason being is because they are discouraged from doing it. That's the reason why so many of us as black men believe that we can be ball players and rappers. So you believe that the only thing that you're good for is physical labor and entertainment? And once again, I'm not saying all black men. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that we like to utilize these very broad ideologies about one another in order to destroy each other's lives. Right? While at the same time you running around here hollering about black liberation, you literally just set us back. So what are you saying? Right? Let's continue. So once again, how is it that a woman can feel like she can thrive in an environment where she does not have the support of the same people she's attempting to save? Right? One of my other friends was, and we agreed to disagree. I was like, I have to agree to disagree with you, because one of my other friends was saying, how is it that she's encouraging black men to go to therapy, or how is it that first of all, being a black clinician, specifically a mental health clinician, is literally existing at the axis of a 200 plus year institution and industry that just started checking its racism 60 years ago against a society that devalues your ability to critically analyze things to begin with, on top of being with the people who contemporarily are consistently being harmed by the same things that we are attempting to outdo. How can you sit up here and tell me as a healer when and when not to go off? That is wildly insulting. That is wildly insulting. We literally deal with the energy that y'all don't want to deal with. And then when somebody turn around and spaz, oh, she's not being a professional. We literally work in the field of human endeavor, and you are telling me that this woman cannot be human. What do you mean? That is the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard. And that is the reason why at times I cannot stand the mental health industry, because it still exists underneath patriarchal capitalism. So what does that mean? They will tell you to tell other people about self-help, but will not allow you the same space of self-help, bro. Because I was fired in January for taking a mental health day after I lost my car and my girlfriend in the same 3 months. So don't tell me about respectability politics, bro, because the mental health institution still works under patriarchal capitalism. So in and of itself, it has idiosyncrasies that by nature inherently are hypocritical. Stop playing with me, dog. Stop playing with me. And that's me speaking on this as a black man. A black man. I do not have the obstacle of somebody utilizing the patriarchy in order to move me back because they do not like the fact that I am a woman saying these things, dog. I have said the same thing to men. The same thing. Kevin, and you know what? People was talking about Kevin Samuel, so let's be real, because we still talking about the patriarchy, bro. We ain't even get down all the way down to where it is that we finna go. We just talking about the existence of the patriarchy and how it is that y'all wield this against women. People was talking about Kevin Samuels. Let's keep it a lean bean. Let's keep it a bean. Kevin Samuels, and this is the reason why I say I don't have a problem with Kevin Samuels per se. I have a problem with his followers because y'all are fair weather. Let's keep it a lean bean. When Kevin Samuels was holding men accountable, where were y'all at? Where were y'all at? When Kevin Samuels was solely holding men accountable, where were y'all at? It was not until he started holding y'all accountable in misogyny sandwiches that y'all started eating it. Oh, Kevin Samuels helped us be better men by depleting women. Kevin Samuels helped you be a better man because he sugared it in misogyny. Because that is the only way that a lot of y'all can understand self-improvement is through disempowering other women. So is that really self-improvement? Is it really? Or is it that you're taller by the comparison of bringing somebody else to their knees? Stop playing with me, dog. I'm coming for blood today. I'm coming for jugulars today, dog, because I'm sick of it, bro. I'm sick. I am sick to my stomach that we will sit here despite the evidence, despite the numbers. Somebody tagged me in the video and somebody was like, oh, the way that the doctor put together that article was simply talking to women on TikTok. They didn't get the man's perspective. I swear to God, y'all cannot sell stupid without buying it fast enough. What do you mean? Are you a clinician, bro? Are you a scientist? Are you a scientist? That's like saying, oh, they released a study on lions, but they didn't look at the zebras. We're not studying zebras. You want to talk about what I did, but we're not talking about what Timmy did. What, bro? What? My friend, Gilly. What? So what you are telling me is that utilizing that logic, a doctor has to walk an idiot through the entire carcinogenic process in order to tell them that they have cancer? You're gonna die before then. You want me to walk you through the trajectory of a bullet flying through the air to explain to you that this bullet has ricocheted off of your rib and is now falling out of your heart? Now I gotta call a seismologist because it ricocheted. That's a vibration. Now we gotta call a seismologist since you want to know everything in the book. You're being willfully obtuse. You are literally utilizing the shovel of confirmation bias in order to dig for information that is not there. And that is how y'all wield the patriarchy against women, because your mediocrity is more valid than her certification. And that pisses me off, bro, because y'all will sit here and say that it's not. And we have data that it is. Your mediocrity cost this woman her job. And you want to sit up here and tell me that patriarchy does not exist? My friend met Sean. We'll sit up here and say we only bow before God, but the only God that you bow before is the one in your mind that you've made up that won't send you to hell for your sins and transgressions. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Stop it. Because the reality of the situation is that once again, the patriarchy actually, y'all use patriarchal ideologies in order to say that the patriarchy does not exist, and y'all really don't know how y'all be doing it. But I'm finna tell y'all how y'all do. Y'all know how y'all say, oh, the patriarchy doesn't exist because we protect women and we do all this and we do all that. Who the hell do you think told us that we were the only people who could do these things? Who do you think were the people who bamboozled us into believing that the women were just quote unquote supposed to stay home based upon pseudoscientific biological differences? Now we are in a state of dilapidation and spiritual non-growth because we have told these women that all they are good for is reproduction. It burns me that when people talk about, and I know this to be true, it burns me that when people say, when we talk about how it is that they bully the LGBTQIA community, and we say that the cure for cancer can be trapped in the mind of an LGBTQIA child, it burns me that I know that 9 times out of 10, they are not thinking about a woman. They're not. They are not. Because the first person in this land who would have resources in that type of dynamic would still be a cis white man. He would be cis homo, but he would still be a white man. Because once again, leveraging the patriarchy against oppressed peoples that patriarchy oppresses is still being oppressive. Like, bro, what do you mean? And y'all don't realize how many tools that the patriarchy has that y'all don't even know when y'all are using them. Right? So once again, that's only on the dynamic. I've only been speaking on the dynamic of man and woman. Right? Or rather, the binary of gender. The modular variable of gender. Now we finna get real ugly. We finna get in a race, and this finna be real funny, right? So a lot of you all were saying that she was not being professional. As a professional, I can tell you that the American Psychological Association just released an apology to BIPOC communities in October of 2021. They just released. And matter of fact, I'm finna look it up, and I'm finna tell y'all. I'm finna get y'all hip to some game, right? I keep all this stuff in bookmarks because I use it to put together things for my course and like books and stuff like that. But hold on. So the historical chronology of the APA, it's on their website. That's the crazy thing. It's on their website. You don't even have to go far no more, bro. Like, they're not even hiding in books no more. It's in plain sight. So this literally, bro, and that's what's so frustrating about being a therapist. The stuff that y'all talk about is antiquated. The stuff that y'all argue over is not even new. It's not. The science does not even back it up anymore, dog. It doesn't. But y'all will fight. Y'all will scream. Y'all will holler about stuff that does not matter. Literally, that we are sitting in front of y'all as black therapists and we are telling y'all, yo, look at the statistics, bro. In order to be a therapist, you have to be a master of science or a master of arts. But if you have a master of science, that means that we have done work in both statistics and data analytics. So when you bring me statistics and you think you finna come at me with statistics, bro, I can tell you how it is that the study that you used is both correct and incorrect. I need you to understand how statistics are manipulated. Right? That's the reason why when Bo was like, oh, all he did was go talk to people, or all he did was go talk to people on TikTok. It's called a survey. It's called a qualitative survey. That is a type of study that can be done and then can be supplemented utilizing quantitative data. It is a viable type of study. But the only reason why once again, the only reason why we value quantitative data over qualitative data is because of empiricism. We believe that things that we can touch are more valuable than things that are spiritual in nature. That is the reason why we are where we are now. Because the church needed a foundation for expansion. That is when things started heating up between spiritualists and people who were in the church but were starting to make states. Like, come on, y'all. When I say things are anthropologically like, come on, son. But we finna get into the history of the chronology of the APA, right? So y'all are talking about her being unprofessional. Let's get into it, right? Remember, psychology as a discipline is over 200 years old, right? Let's do this real quick. So, the APA's chronology starts at 1850, right? It starts at 1850. The study of psychology began a little bit before that, or the origins of psychology began a little bit before that, but the APA chronology starts at 1850, right? So, I'm going to read an excerpt from, 1897. In a study of black and white children, Stetson, 1897, found that black children outperformed white children on a memory task. The author attributed this to greater mnemonic ability of their quote-unquote primitive brains. He further described black children as being deficient in reasoning. In the same year, the APA funds a committee on physical and mental tests as its first commitment to an activity other than its own administration. So what does that mean? That means that the American Psychological Association not only ideologically supported racism, but it financially supported it. Would you like to know what else the APA funded? This organization that we adhere or have to adhere to in terms of ethical behavior, since we really want to get down into the nitty gritty. Do you want to know what else they funded? Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, G. Stanley Hall is the founding. I forgot about this. G. Stanley Hall is the founding president of the APA, right? Let's see what he contributed to the field of psychology, this professional field and these professional ethics that we have to adhere to, shall we? G. Stanley Hall, founding president of APA, publishes the highly influential text, Adolescence. In it, he described first peoples as childlike, with adults from this group being more similar to white children or adolescents in their development. Hall supported the development of civilizing programs, right? So when we get these straight camps, where we get these, acculturation camps, right? Civilization camps. Let's continue, shall we? Once again, when I say that y'all are utilizing white supremacist patriarchal ideologies, y'all don't hear what I'm saying, but it's okay. It's all right. We gonna blow out all them little candles that y'all think finna come to my flame today. These programs, once enacted, were attempted to eradicate First Peoples' culture, language, and spiritual life. Hall's views were echoed by other psychologists. The APA did not start challenging this heavily until 60 years later. And they barely challenge it now. The Association of Black Psychologists was created in the 60s because the APA failed for 100 years, for a century, to address the acute problems in black people. 1960s. It took them almost another 60 years to apologize. But y'all want to sit up here and argue with me and argue with this young lady about professionalism. I said it once and I will say it again. Professionalism is an extension of respectability politics, which is an extension of white supremacy. Y'all are trying to hold me to a system that literally, in its history, on all parts, was never meant to include you. So you are literally opening the trap door on somebody who already has to walk precariously. Stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. I understand that the APA Ethics Board is there for a reason. I'm not saying anything that it should be, disbanded or anything of that nature. What I'm saying is that we are attempting to operate as if though white cultural implementations are without bias, and they are not, and it irritates me. It irritates me. The implementations of professionalism are not without white cultural bias. So once again, you threw lighter fluid on a flame that you did not know whether or not it was already lit. I used to be an administrator at 26 years old. An administrator. Do you hear what I'm saying? An associate program director at 26 years old of a mental health facility without a license. So I can tell you a thing or two, right? The reality of the situation is, if an agency wants you fired, it does not matter how good of a job that you are doing. If they want you fired, they will find a reason to fire you. And 9 times out of 10, we are told to look for that reason. That is one. 2, when we are talking about agencies, foundations, this, that, and the third, what have you, y'all do not understand the politics of these agencies. Because once again, we do not benefit, or we do not look at mental health as something that should be funded. So the way that it is that these people actually get their jobs is through kissing political ass. It don't matter what color you are on the ground. If your funders in the sky adhere to the same ideologies, don't matter. Don't matter. It don't matter if you're really doing good work in the community if the people who house you don't like when you talk about that. Don't matter. It does not matter. Does not. Right? So once again, this whole idea of professionalism, we're arguing this idea of professionalism, and we're wielding this idea of professionalism in a weaponized format. Why? Because we as black people, we as black men, and we as black women have been fighting this fight of professionalism for eons. We have been fighting for the ability to be black in all spaces for eons. We have been telling people for the longest period of time that professionalism, that respectability politics, that all of these things are at the core evangelical Americanized implementations that have been put forth into political process. But y'all ain't hearing me. We have been arguing this, and then you gonna turn around and you gonna snake your sister like that? You gonna turn around and snake your sister like that? Which gets me into my third point. This idea of nation building, right? So this one's for the black men who believe that they This is for the black men who believe that they, you know what I'm saying, out here doing calculus when really you doing arithmetic and you're doing it poorly. Right? This is for the brothers who really feel like they doing some math when really they just playing with numbers. So let's do something real quick. Right? It's real easy to smile when nothing in your progress bars. Right? A fool can smile when there's naught to fear and nothing is progress bars. But it takes a man to stand and chill while the other fellow stars. Doesn't say other man, it says other fellow. Is the black woman not the fellow in this fight? Hold on, I ain't done. Right? I ain't done. Hold on. Cause we got him. Hold on. So, let's do it. Right now, I'm talking to the brothers who believe that they are doing the work, who believe, and I'm not saying that you're not, but let's do some reviews, right? Let's engage in power and refinement real quick. You feel what I'm saying? Do knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Let's get to it, right? So, 42 morals, ma'at, balance, right? I have not committed sin. I have not committed robbery with violence. I have not stolen. I have not slain men or woman. I have not stolen food. I have not swindled offering. I have not stolen from the god/goddess. I have not told lies. I have not carried away food. I have not cursed. I have not closed my ears to truth. I have not committed adultery. I have not made anybody cry. I have not felt sorrow without reason. I have not assaulted anyone. I am not deceitful. I have not stolen anyone's land. I have not been an eavesdropper. I have not been falsely accused of anybody. I have not been angry without reason. I have not seduced anybody's wife. I have not polluted myself. I have not terrorized anyone. I have not disobeyed the law. I have not been exclusively angry. I have not cursed the god or the goddess. I have not behaved with violence. I have not caused disruption of peace. I have not acted hastily or without thought. I have not overstepped boundaries of my concern. I have not exaggerated my words when speaking. I have not worked evil. I have not used evil thoughts, words, or deeds. I have not polluted the water. I have not polluted the water. I have not spoken angrily or arrogantly. I have not cursed anyone in thought, words, or deeds. I have not placed myself on a pedestal. God damn it. I have not stolen what belongs to the god or the goddess. I have not stolen or disrespected the deceased. I have not taken food from a child. I have not acted with insolence. I have not destroyed property belonging to the god or the goddess. So I will ask you again, brothers, what spiritual work are you doing? Because my mama used to tell me what don't come out in the wash should come out in the rinse, and a lot of this water is real dirty. Once again, this is for the brothers who believe that they're doing calculus when really you doing arithmetic and you just playing with numbers and you're doing it wrong. Let's go to class real quick, right? So, there was a song released in 1993 by Tupac Shakur called "Keeping Your Head Up," right? And once again, we just gotta go through the different ways of communication, right? So, I gotta give a holler to my sisters on welfare. Tupac cares if don't nobody else care. I know they like to beat you down a lot when you come around the block. Brothers clown a lot. But please don't cry. Dry your eyes. Never let up. Forgive, don't forget. Forgive, don't forget. Keep your head up, right? Hold on. I wonder why we take from our women while we rape our women. Do we hate our women? Right? I think it's time to kill for our women, time to heal our women, be real to our women, right? And if we don't, we will have a race of babies that we will have a race of babies that hate the ladies that make the babies. Right? I wanted to make sure that I said that right, because sometimes I jumble that up when I'm actually rapping it. And if we don't, we'll have a race of babies that will hate the ladies that make the babies. This song came out in 1993 and the album say "Strictly for My Niggas." This album came out in 1993 and the album is titled "Simply for My..." Once again, y'all are out here talking about y'all can do calculus when you really doing arithmetic. So let's break it down even further, right? Tupac, sometimes his name was spelled Tupac, Tupac, right? The number 2 is wisdom, to wise the dome, to free your mind from the tricks of the devil in Babylon. When the Nation of Islam brothers used to call somebody the devil, what would they? Who would they be talking about? I need y'all to pay attention. I need y'all to keep up, right? And the man who knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. I need y'all to keep up, right? So right here it says strictly for my niggas, cultural freedom, right? Y'all do not really listen to the songs that are in front of y'all. Y'all really, because I can tell, because if y'all did, y'all ciphers would be moving different. Tupac used to call himself Machiavelli, right? Who was Machiavelli? Machiavelli was an Italian diplomat, author, philosopher, and historian, right? Now, what was he known for? I know somebody in the comments already probably giving me, if you're already giving me the juice in the comments, but we're gonna keep it moving, right? So Machiavelli was a 16th century Florentine philosopher known primarily for his political ideas, right? So we like to talk about hip hop a lot, right? Do y'all know what the 5th element of hip hop is? Do you know what the 5th element of hip hop is? The 5th element of hip hop is knowledge, right? So once again, how does this all relate to what it is that we're talking about here? If we were born in 1993, right, and we have somebody who is coming from a place of not only knowledge, but also cultural freedom, right? The numbers 2 and 4. I'm sorry, wisdom and cultural freedom. The numbers 2 and 4, right? And we also have somebody who was talking about a race of babies that will hate the ladies that make the babies in 1993. Y'all do the math. Y'all do the math. Right? Y'all do the math. Because at the end of the day, we like to pretend like these things don't have a history. We like to pretend that these things don't exist. We like to pretend that these things we like to pretend that these things don't move. We like to pretend that these things don't undulate. Brother, everything moves in a circle. Everything is cyclical. Everything is animated. Everything receives and emits vibration. So how is it that you can sit up here and say this idea does not exist when we have entire situations that can attest to this fact? Right? You don't understand how the patriarchy affects you because you are not the person who has been taught to fear it. You are the person who has been taught to benefit from it. That is 1. 2, the fact that I even have to sit here and have this conversation constitutes to the reality that this is something that we see on a regular basis. Right? Once again, it is the disempowering of women and the forcing of alignment to a system that does not benefit them, but gaslights them into believing that for your dismay, or in your dismay, we will give you what it is that you need. So in other words, if you give us your life, if you sell us your emotions, if you sell us your soul, we will give you everything that you need. Men talk about selling their soul so much. Have y'all ever considered the fact that we are the devils that they are selling it to? Because only a man, in my mind, only a man will call the contract that you sign in order to get a house a death contract. That is the word. That is what the word mortgage translates into. The word mort in French means death. Right? Why does everything have to be doom and gloom, and why do we have to yield it that way, or why do we have to wield it that way in order for women to engage with us? Well, that's because we usually are coming from the perspective or the contextualization of a wrathful God, and because we believe that we are the people of authority in the household, we believe that we can be just as wrathful and then turn around and still be praised for being benevolent in spaces of absence of wrath. That is completely and totally insane. You are not God. You can identify hypermasculinity in women, but you can't identify it in yourself. Why are you mad that a woman told you no? Why are you upset that a woman said to you in a way that other men will say to you, you tripping? The reason why my colleague lost her job is because you all did not understand and or respect her authority in the first place. You were just looking for a reason to continue to disrespect it. And that is the reason why I'm upset. And that is the reason why it does not matter how it is that you try to put this to me. It's always going to sound like bullshit. Because the bottom line is, y'all didn't turn around and say, well, she shouldn't have gave him the reason. You're missing the point. You're missing the point. There shouldn't be an environment for a reason to be given. Y'all are missing the point. She lost her job because she was disrespectful. No, she lost her job because y'all felt disrespected. I watched the videos. I watched them. And if I would have, and trust and believe in review, if I would have been like, nah, she was out of pocket at some places. No, what it is that I saw quite literally. And this is the reason why I say y'all don't understand intersectionality, and y'all don't understand how it is that we as therapists at sometimes, like being a therapist, being a black therapist is an existential mindfuck. It really is. It truly is. And y'all, if you are not a black clinician, you cannot tell me, because you don't be in the trenches for real. Like, y'all really think I just be sitting on this platform and just talking? No, bruh. I have done the work. I do the work, and I'm going to continue to do the work. I am telling y'all. This black woman, because she is a black clinician, has to sit, like, brother, as a black man who does relationship counseling, brother, sometimes I am terrified of commitment, not because that's just inherent, but I've seen relationships fall apart. Can you imagine the injuries that you could potentially sustain from putting somebody else's relationship back together? For putting somebody else's life back together? Right? Have you ever reached out to a client just to find out they unalived themselves? Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me. Have you ever had to work with a group of people who just the last summer were traumatized by somebody unaliving themselves in the facility and nobody asked them how they were doing? And the person who had to go get that young man was a black woman? Have you ever had to do something like that? Because I have. Do not sit here. Right? Ooh, have you ever lost a coworker to gun violence who you knew was doing great things in the community? Because one of your own mentees who you prayed over, asked God, yo, make sure that this young boy, make sure that he stays alive. His next mentor was the coworker that I lost to gun violence, bro. So when we sit here and we talk about this idea of things not happening in cycles, y'all have literally removed this woman from this position within which she was quite literally helping the same people who y'all say don't help y'all. Make it make sense. And y'all removed her from this position because she was being human. It is scary being a black therapist. It is terrifying at times. Because we literally have to sit here. We have to sit and walk through y'all trauma with y'all and pretend like some of y'all trauma does not apply to us. Or pretend like some of your trauma is not highly probable in our own. Or pretend like some of y'all trauma does not hit us right in the gut, right in that moment in time, dog. There have been times where I've had clients come in my space and tell me what's going on in their life and tell me the outcome, and I immediately become terrified because I'm like, yo, we as therapists are still human beings. We as clinicians are still human beings. We as clinicians still have to engage with the world the same way that y'all do. We have just been taught to undo some things. But at the end of the day, I will stand with this black woman and I will continue to defend this black woman because the reality of the situation is I knew. And when I said this is the reason why I chose to be unlicensed for as long as I was, for two reasons. One, because as a black clinician, they will not tell you how expensive it is to get licensed. They will not tell you how expensive it is to get licensed. That is one. Two, they will not tell you how expensive schooling is. That is two. Three, they will not tell you if you do not follow due process. And a lot of times due process has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not you're damaging the client, but whether or not you can sustain the damage that the client is doing to you. Right. So when I made that video about referring out a racist client, do you know how many people were in those comment sections talking about, oh, you just supposed to help him? What? And did you know that there are agencies that will fire you over something like that? So do not come to me if you are not a black clinician and you are telling me about this respectability politics nonsense. Do not come to me and say to me, oh, she lost her job because she was being unprofessional. Man, you don't even know the half of what being unprofessional looks like in mental health being black, dog. You don't know what it looks like. I have just had the benefit of working with a number of agencies that were either overwhelmingly black or understood intersectionality to a particular degree. Everybody don't got that blessing. So let's be 100. Let's keep it a bean. And the reason why I've decided to not work with, not 9 to 5 work with any agencies up until this point, or if they're not completely black owned, I'm not working with them, because I know that the way that it is that I talk specifically about black experiences would have white therapists, a lot of white therapists, shook. A lot of white agencies shook. The way that I talk about white men specifically, what? They not even gonna look at my resume, dog. They not. I know it for a fact. It's too easy to find me on social media. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give y'all an example. I was a shoe-in. And I'm gonna give y'all a plain example. I was just looking for a part-time job, right? Just a part-time job. You know what I'm saying? Some psychometric stuff, right? And I go through the interview process. They say, hey, we're going to reach out to you in a couple of days. They reach back out to me, you know what I'm saying, do the second interview. Somebody's going to call you tomorrow. I never got that phone call. I sincerely believe that somebody found my social media and recognized how it is that I was talking about white folk and assumed that I hated white people. The same way somebody found her social media and only saw one part of her social media, assumed that she hated black men, and got her fired based upon that premise. Y'all ain't slick. Y'all are real stupid. And y'all are the most dangerous type of stupid. Y'all are the type of stupid that know better but won't do better. Y'all are the type of stupid that will drag your entire family in the cesspool because you don't want to be alone in poison. And I'm not just talking about men at this point. I'm also talking about some of the women. Right? Because the article that was written apparently was by a woman. But either way, right, this internal Whatever this is amongst black people utilizing white supremacist ideologies has to stop. It got to stop. Because the reality of the situation is y'all cost this woman her job because your feelings were hurt about being mediocre. Right? And the reality of the situation is I talk the same shit with a very similar tone. And the only thing I get in my comments is, oh, you a simp, you pandering. Y'all, and some of y'all, the more intellectuals, herd of y'all will try to utilize statistical analyses and, you know, reviews, articles, and it's like some of y'all be doing okay. Like, I don't find any of you all really challenging, but the reality of the situation is you're quite literally keeping people in a delusion so that you do not have to improve your mediocrity, and that's not manhood at all. It isn't. And that once again goes back to the title of Pandering to the Patriarchy, because once again reminding y'all that the definition of the word pander, we're gonna look it up because somebody tried to quote unquote correct me as if though I had said it incorrectly. So we're gonna go back. Pander definition. Bong. Pander, to gratify or indulge an immoral or distasteful desire, need, or habit within a person with such a desire, or a person with such a desire, right? So, y'all are pandering to the patriarchy because you are destabilizing another human being's life simply through utilizing the powers of respectability politics, which we've already identified as something that is not only just Eurocentric, but backed up by racist science. In a society that says we protect women. In a society, in a space that y'all say supports women. Is that not only hypocritical, but also pandering? Is that not immoral? Based upon what the patriarchy says that it does for women, we protect, we support, right? We provide y'all opportunities for employment, but y'all also take them away when they don't do what y'all want them to do. That's not empowerment. That's slavery with a longer leash. So once again, don't shoot the messenger. Because we could even take it down a Christian route, right? If we're supposed to present our women or present cloth, and actually in the King James version that was actually changed from her to cloth, right? So literally the verse says that we are supposed to present her with no bruises or no rips to the church. They changed it to cloth. I wonder why. But once again, so if we were to present our women, or if black men as a total, if we were to present our women to the God that if all of us were called to judgment at the same time as men, to the God that we believe to be true, or the God that whoever believes to be true, right? If all of us were called at the same time and were held to judgment by the way that it is that we treated our fellow in God, which is women, or our fellows in God, which are the other bodies that exist on earth, how many of y'all believe that y'all would actually be going to heaven? How many of y'all actually believe that y'all be in a better place that you believe or preach about? I'm just saying, we really need to start digging real deep into some of these things. Because what it sounds like to me, it sounds like a whole bunch of finessing. It sounds like a whole bunch of power plays. It sounds like a whole bunch of skirting accountability in order for you not to be better. It sounds like a whole bunch of immorality or helping other people be immoral. It sounds like being a person who wants to engage in that immorality, right? It sounds like somebody who wants to gratify or indulge as immoral or distasteful desire, or somebody who has an immoral or distasteful desire based upon the paradigms that you place upon women to say the patriarchy provides for you. You are engaging in immoral and distasteful actions based upon the foundation that you have built for your own society. You, sir, are pandering for the patriarchy. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Oh, and we're going to run it down for black men, too. Just take that, right? Take what it is that I just said and apply it to the idea that for the brothers who say that they Afrocentric, apply it to the idea that masculine and feminine are indeed equivalent. And if you disrespect the goddess body form, you are by design disrespecting the Almighty, right? Or the all-knowing, because you are disrespecting the God within that body, which is immoral, which is pandering. So not only are you pandering to the patriarchy, you're actually pandering to white men. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations, brother. So like I said, it gets real in these fields if you really don't do your homework. It gets real in these fields if you really don't expand your cipher beyond what it is that you believe to be knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Right? You have to do the work. There's no way around doing the work. And if you don't do the work, it's going to show. Right? You need to have a healthy amount of humility and understand that what it is that you don't know should lead you into what it is that you know. Because the reality of the situation is, even as intelligent as I am, I know where it is that I fall short, and I continue to climb higher based upon what it is that I know where I fall short on. But a lot of y'all fall short and want to pull somebody down to where it is that you fail, just so that you don't have to deal with the vulnerability of falling again from that height. That's dead. But I'm about to end the stream on YouTube so that I can make sure that I can have enough, you know what I'm saying, to cut chop, you feel me? But once again, good people, great people, God's people. This is Professor Odie on Odie's Office. You know what I'm saying? Nigga with a podcast. Make sure you catch me on the streams on YouTube. I'll let y'all know when they pop up because sometimes I just do them randomly. I usually do a Wisdom Wednesdays and a Mindful Money Mondays. So Mondays and Wednesdays around noon is definitely when I, hop on to my lives. Like I said, I'm about to end the YouTube live stream. I'm actually going to stay on TikTok because I want to see what y'all was talking about in the comments. But yeah, also, hey man, hopefully by the end of today, for those of y'all who have been asking me for a book, hopefully by the end of today, I'll be releasing my ebook. It's called Cipher, the first process. I think I'm still going to change the title, but essentially it's a manifestation manual, and it utilizes reintroducing Afrocentricity or actual African cultural realignment. So basically not saying that these things are African, but identifying how it is that we as black people practice universal ideologies and energetic ideologies. That's one. But also two, really expanding on the idea of emotional intelligence, how it is that we as black people provide to cosmological intelligence, and how those energies help us to can be used in order to guide us through spaces. So I'm speaking about it very abstractly, but concretely, it's a journal that assists you in deeply reconstructing the way that it is that you perceive particular things. So think about it as a crash course in cognitive behavioral therapy and restructuring how it is that you perceive yourself and where it is that you would like to go, but also how it is that you perceive your environment being a black person, right? So hopefully by the end of the night I'll have that out for y'all. So that you all can utilize these manifestation manuals in order to just really get an introduction into how it is that you want to begin retelling your story, or reaffirming your narrative, or retooling your narrative so that it fits your best black as you. You dig what I'm saying? So once again, check it out. My link is in my bio. As I said previously, this ebook will be available for purchase hopefully by the end of today. I'm still doing some tweaks in it just to make sure that I give y'all the best of the best. It's going to include some, financial behavioral information in there. It's going to include some cognitive behavioral information in there. It's going to include a little bit of spirituality. Like, it's just going to be an introduction to the things that I actually do in my courses. So I definitely want y'all to check it out. Like, think of it as an extended journal prompt, right? With a little bit of like, all right, let me tell you this story before you start writing. That's how it is that it's going to be. It's like an activity workbook. So once again, check me out on my link. Continue to rock with me on YouTube. I greatly appreciate y'all. Y'all have been, man, hey, real talk. Y'all been showing love, bro. Like, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I love each and every one of y'all. Gee, like, I now understand why, like, influencers and content creators do stuff, because y'all been showing out, G. Like, y'all have really been showing out, and I really appreciate the vibes, the love, stuff like that, man. And I'm trying to introduce you all to the point that I actually do sell courses, and I actually, you know what I'm saying, do have e-products without it being too salesy, because I'm an educator. You dig what I'm saying? I do educate, and at the same time, you all say that you all enjoy my content, and I want you all to be able to see how it is that I come up with the things that I come up with, or how it is that I begin thinking the way that I'm thinking. So once again, y'all asked me for a book list. The book list is in my online community. Y'all asked me, you know what I'm saying, do you talk to your fans? Yes, in my online community. Do you engage in deep level conversations with people who? Yes, in my online community, right? Or would you be willing to come out to a city? Yes, but all of that information will be in my online communities. You dig what I'm saying? You all are, these things need to be facilitated in a particular way. So, you know what I'm saying, we need the funds to facilitate these particular things. So at the end of the day, what it is that we're looking at is what it is that I do on TikTok, right? What it is that I do in my online community, and the things that I sell in terms of e-products that all together create a deeper understanding of how it is that I have gotten to the point of me being able to construct the viewpoints that I construct, right? And I think a lot of people are interested in the book list, and the biggest component of my online cipher community is going to be the book club, right? We're literally going to have a new book to read every month, y'all. I have 88 physical book copies just right here. I literally have enough books to read one book for the next 5 years without repeating books, right? We can chop them down to the point where we'll be able to explore a whole bunch of different ideas, right? So that's where it is that we coming with it. So yes, my book club, the book list, the books that I read, the ideas that I, you know what I'm saying, use to throw things around, all of those things are available in my online community. So if you go into if you click on the link in my bio, the www.blackwealth.com, and you look for Cypher, not Mindful Finance. Mindful Finance is something different, and we usually talk about that on Mindful Money Mondays. If you look for Cypher, that is my online community, right? So once again, let me know what's going on. And once again, peace, love, soul, and butter.